Welcome back everyone. In today's video we are flying out the Fw-190 A-8. This plane sits at 5.0 in the German tech tree and also the US tech tree as a premium. The A-8 is a very fun plane to fly for one simple reason: guns. If a plane gets anywhere near your crosshairs, they are going to be sent straight to the hangar. But besides that, there isn't much else that's good about this plane. I'm being 100% honest when I say that the flight performance of this thing is horrible. The only positives of this plane are the air spawns, the guns, and the high-speed control. If you're ever alone fighting another enemy plane, most of the time, if the enemy isn't brain dead, you will not be winning. This plane with its flight model at 5.0 sits in a very rough spot, and if not played very strictly, you are going to be dying a lot in this plane. Sure, the air spawn helps it, but when in an up tier to 5.7, which happens a lot, most planes are going to be higher by the time you reach 5 kilometers. However, when given a very specific scenario that correlates with the Focke-Wulf's niche, such as being above a furball with an energy advantage, there is no better plane to be in than the 190s. The Focke-Wulf is also very good at defensive flying when it has energy, but it does run out quickly, so reversals are your best choice so fights can end quickly. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that even if you don't make mistakes when flying this plane, you are still going to die because the flight performance compared to other aircraft at this BR is just simply not good enough. My main strategy in the A-8 is to get enemy numbers down as quickly as possible because the longer the game goes on, the worse the A-8 gets. Without further ado, let's hop into some matches. So starting off, we have a 7-kill game. This is just a routine kill on a B-17. Pretty easy to kill B-17s with 4 MG-151s, but now I have to dodge a Hornet. And so what I want to do is, after I kill the B-17, I want to go straight down and kind of set up perpendicular to the Hornet's guns. And at these speeds that the Hornet was going, it's very hard for him to kind of like aim, and I easily dodge him. And he flies away, so I'm just going to keep flying forward. G55 in front of me. Simple kill. He wasn't paying attention. He's probably AFK watching a YouTube video or something. But now, as you can see below, lots of targets. And this is why I use the stealth rounds. You can take these head-ons that are kind of sneaky. People don't see your tracers. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get any like proper damage on the P-51, but I do have more speed than him. He stalls out at the top of his loop, and I'm still able to kind of control my plane, and I get a solid burst into his plane there. He disintegrates, and now I am above, I think, 6 people, yeah. My main priority is going to be either one of these two enemies, because they're the turn fighters. I go for the Spitfire, and I try and go for the A7M, or excuse me, A6M here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to turn in that quickly. I loop back over, and I'm now going to go for the two enemies over here. And this is where I make a slight mistake. It could have cost me, actually. It's more than a slight mistake. I don't check my 6, and as you can see, there's a P-51. Luckily, at these speeds, he really starts compressing in his rudder department, so as long as I just kind of roll around like that, I'm going to mainly stay out of his guns. And he overshoots, I turn back after him, and he is the only enemy in the area that could cause, I guess, trouble, because he is very fast right now. But I'm just going to dive kind of towards the furball. Hattori takes one out. Katyusha sets the A7M on fire. He gets severe damage, so I'm just going to tap. Unfortunately, I don't hit that. P-51 comes in. We take a very close head-on. Luckily, I do manage to get him before he's turned in and gets guns on me. But I'm now going to go for the R2005. And I'm not making mistakes of not checking my shoulder. There's an A6M, and you can see how fast he's going. I'm going 550 right now, and he's probably going somewhere almost 700. So he's going to really start compressing. And at these speeds, I can actually turn with him and roll out of his guns pretty easily. And at this point, I overroll here, but he is blacked out probably. As you can see, he's barely turning. I'm going to get a free shot, and down he goes. The R2005 will eventually go down, and the last guy in the game on the enemy team, the Hornet, is now in front of us. And since it's the last guy, I'm going to take a very long head-on, again only with the stealth rounds, and I end up getting him. That's 7. Moving on to the next match. This is, I believe, 4 kills. Instead of going for that group of enemies back there to the left, I am going to go for this solo P-51 because he seems to be very slow below me, and he's alone, so he's going to have a lot of trouble dealing with me when I'm directly above him. I go loop, back over his tail, behind him. He stalls out, into my guns, easy shot. And I'm now going to go for the AC-9. I don't need to dodge until right before he shoots. As you can see, the guns go behind me. I go up, and he's not going to have enough energy to follow me here. He does the right thing and breaks off away from me, and I loop back over and start chasing him. And although the A-9 is a better plane than me in this situation, I do have more energy still, so I am going to chase him. He's diving away to equalize the energy, and as soon as he makes that turn downwards, I know he's a decent pilot and he's going to be very hard to hit. So instead of going for him right now, and I also see that my team's collapsing, I need to go help the Tempest with the K-84. I switch to only stealth rounds for the 20 mils. He pitches in last second for a head-on, I dodge, and he goes down. And again, that's one of the reasons why I use stealth rounds with, I think I already said this in the video, but stealth rounds are very useful for head-ons like this. As you can see, the 82 pitches in, I shoot stealth rounds, he doesn't see, and he also gets taken out. I'm now going to go for the A-9, and me and this Tempest are going to double team him, and just kind of push him lower, because this guy is going to be very hard to hit. As you can see, he's dodging properly, and all I really need to do is just go back up and wait for the Tempest to shoot, and then I'm going to be free to loop back over because he's not going to be paying attention to me. As soon as I go directly over him, I'm going to loop back downwards onto 6. I'm making sure the Tempest and me aren't making passes at the same time, because that's inefficient. You want this guy to always be moving, so he loses energy at a constant rate. I'm going to go up because he's turning directly below me like that. That's just a very hard shot. I have very low odds of hitting that. And I'm going to speed the video up here because I sense that those 3 enemies, since our last bomber died, they're going to come in. And as you can see, I'm getting chased by an F-82. The Tempest goes down, and there's now a J2M as well. And basically at this point, I'm screwed. There's nothing I can do. A Focke-Wulf A-8 in this type of situation will always die unless the enemies somehow make it super easy. I go head on. Unfortunately, I don't hit any shots. And I'm going to do a split S after the F-82 because I want to try and kill him as quickly as possible if I am to win this. I actually get a hit here, but unfortunately it's nothing critical, and now I have to dodge the J2M. And at these speeds, the J2M compresses a lot more than me, so I'm going to keep bringing him to high speed. And as long as I wiggle out of his guns like that, I am going to dodge him. I get a shot. Unfortunately, the shot does literally nothing, and that's a shame. I pull in for the P-51 now, and I can tell that I'm not going to be able to get guns on before he does, and so I ended up dodging him. And at this point, I'm just thinking, if I'm going down, I'm taking one of you with me. F-82 goes down, and now I have to dodge the J2M. In all seriousness, I do die a couple of times like that, and again, there's nothing you can do. The Focke-Wulf A-8 doesn't have the flight performance necessary or needed to get out of those situations and carry games like that. It's very hard, especially with planes that are faster and a plane that turns better. We're gonna move to the next match. This is another full up tier, and this is 5 kills. 2 pretty easy kills there to start off with. The P-47 was not paying attention, and a bomber kill. And you are going to get a lot of bomber kills in this game, or in this plane, sorry. I get, I think, an average of 1 per game. A bomber always seems to just kind of fly in front of my gun sights. And yeah, free Silver Lions, free KD. I'm not going to complain. Just don't tail sit bombers. This thing can be kind of fragile at times, and it has a really crappy damage model. But yeah, besides not tail sitting bombers, this thing is very good at just kind of lightning attacks, hit and runs. I now go for the F-82. Excuse me, F-8F. Goodness. And luckily, this thing's rudder does not compress at high speeds. I'm not going to be able to hit the Act 3 there. But all I have to do, since I'm in a furball, he's not going to really be paying his full attention to me. I can just loop back over. There's no other enemies around. And that Yak 3 is going to go down to the Spitfire. We're now going to skip forward a bit. There is an A26B in front of me. And I'm going to switch to only my 20 mils so he doesn't see my rounds in the head-on. I'm willing to take this head-on because I can just dodge and he goes down. And I wouldn't recommend taking head-ons with A26s if they actually want to take it with you, because the B10 has 8 50 cals and the B50 has 14. Yeah, 14 50 cals. So if they want to actually commit with you to the head-on, then don't take it with them. I'm positioning myself kind of for the F-82 to go right in front of my guns. I get a snapshot, and I get a very satisfying kill. Luckily, he wasn't really paying attention to me. He really wanted that A7M dead. We're now going to skip forward to the last kill, or the last enemy, and it is an F2G. And F2Gs are extremely scary when you're in an A8. They climb better than you, they turn better than you by a bit, and they're much faster, they accelerate more. Very scary. They do basically everything better than you, and they actually roll with you. And so I want to be very careful when I approach this fight, even though I do have a pretty massive energy advantage. On paper, I have like a kilometer of altitude on him, but in reality, this guy could just pitch up for like 10 seconds, gain a bunch of altitude, and my energy advantage would be diminished extremely quickly. As you can see, he turns around and he's actually catching me already. And this is a problem, and I need to be extremely aggressive here. If I were to just kind of keep trying to climb away from him, he would catch me. But if I try and energy trap him now, while he doesn't have enough time to climb, I'm going to be able to kind of get one shot on him before he energy equalizes. He stalls out. I go up over his guns. And if he sticks his fight instead of diving away, he will die. I get a short burst in, and I take his plane out. That is going to be GG. Moving on to the next game. This is another 5-kill game. And again, you're going to see me pitching up for bombers a lot. PB4 wise, basically stand no chance. I get severe damage. My teammate takes the rest of them out. And it was a pretty cool little kind of synchronized team play bomber wipe. I'm going to fast forward here though, because it's not really worth like a transition. It's just easier to fast forward in this situation, but there are 3 Spitfires below us. I'm going to go for the left guy because he's not really paying attention to me, and he's also just kind of closest, highest altitude. Easy shot. Martin takes one out. And we're now going to go for the last Spitfire. And my teammate's going to bait him for me. I highly recommend that you play these Focke-Wulfs, and this applies to pretty much every single Focke-Wulf in the game. I highly recommend you play this in a squad. At least have one teammate with you at all times, because Focke-Wulfs are team-oriented players. I take the Spitfire out. Pretty self-explanatory shot there, but yeah, definitely play Focke-Wulfs in teams or squads, because they're squad-oriented planes. They need a squad around it to be good. They work, just their niche kind of works very well with squads, and it's just a lot harder with playing solo. Also, ignore the fact that I just flew through a tree somehow. The main thing right there was I was trying to like select my guns at that point because I wanted to be like stealth. But if you're in that situation, just use all your guns. Don't fiddle around with the gun selection key. There was an AFK Yak 3, and that was basically the game. So we're now going to move to the next game. This is 4 kills. I take a head-on with an F-82. I stuck it for a bit too long, and I probably should have died there. Luckily, I managed to roll out of his guns at the last second, and I see a Spitfire in front of me, and a P-38K is also directly above me, so I'm going to dive straight down. As you can see, the P-38K is here, and if I make him compress, he actually is going to rip his wings, and there he goes. And yeah, at that speed, you're not really going to be pulling out of that before you rip in a P-38K, and I know this because my teammates have told me multiple times that they've ripped like that, but that's besides the point. We're now going to help Tori out with the Spitfire, and since he's not really paying attention to me, I'm going to be able to spike him here. Really bad aim with the first 2 bursts there, but once I like kind of hold it and just get a line set up, he goes down. Very nice shot there. But he enters a flat spin. He's not going to be pulling out of that, and he realizes, he J's out. And I'm now going to go straight down because there's an F-82 that is coming in, and I want to gain as much airspeed as possible before he gets to me. So yeah, I'll go straight down, and I'm just rolling around in the F-82's gun sights. He's not stopping his spray, which is fine by me, as long as I just kind of like make my wings perpendicular to his and just keep rolling around, keep dodging constantly. He's not going to be able to get a clean shot on me. He tries to run away. I do a split S, and he's not going to be paying attention to me now for some reason. He's going to go for the IL-10, and he completely forgets that I'm here. He sets up a full broadside shot, and he goes down. We now have a P-47 on our 6. That's a P-47M, and this fight is extremely one-sided, but what I can do is if I take this to high enough speeds, I can actually reverse him, but it is very tough if he plays this properly. As you can see, he's pulling off and getting a better position, which is smart by him. And at this point, I'm waiting for Hattori to come here, and if he doesn't come here in time, then I'm probably dead. I set up for a reversal. He hits me in the engine, unfortunately. However, that's the only shot he's going to get on me. I go up over his guns. I'm going to get one shot here, and I miss. Luckily, I do have a teammate that's around, so he is going to kind of struggle with that, and he actually turns back into me for some reason, loses all of his speed, and now I'm going to get a shot. He takes his propeller out, and since there's a C-fire, I need to go head on here. I lose the dogfight. Luckily, he sticks it, and he goes down. I got pretty lucky in that scenario that the Spitfire decided to full commit head on me, and that's the only reason I survived. I ended up making it back to the airfield, and we won the game later. Moving on to the next game, this is another 4-kill, and this is kind of just like, I would say it's a good example of a hit and run and boom and zoom. It's just kind of like the strategy that you want to use. I'm going to go for the Spitfire here, that's below me, and I get an engine fire, and I'm going to use the speed that I gained from that dive to just book it. I want to exit away from that other Spitfire as quickly as possible, and I'm just going to fast forward a bit here to the B-26. No one wants to see an extra 10 seconds of me mindlessly flying towards him. And I'm now going to go for the Spitfire, the first one that tried to kill me first. I get hit in the head on. And in this situation, I don't want to turn with them. I'm just going to leave. And since I have teammates around, they're going to also focus him. He's not going to be paying his full attention to me. And right as he breaks off, I'm going to turn back around. I'm going to even split us here for a bit of altitude because as he fights, he is going to lose altitude too. And so my flight path is going to intersect with him. As you can see, he's not paying attention to me. I get a shot. He goes down. And there's also, somewhere below me, I believe, a Hellcat. I check above me first, just in case, because an enemy above you is much more dangerous than an enemy below you. So I always check above me first. But the F6F, it's a 5N, no problem. He pitches up for some reason and stalls out directly in my guns. And that is going to be 4, plus an AI kill if you want to, I don't know, if you just want to watch that. But we are going to move to the next game. This is, I believe, another 4K, so I got a lot of 4Ks of this thing. And it first starts off with a bomber kill, which is, again, not a very rare occurrence. It's a very common thing in this plane because you get an interceptor air spawn, and you're able to, even though you don't have the best climb, meet bombers at their altitude, and since you have 420s, you absolutely shred them. Pretty self-explanatory kill on the Yak-3. I turned him into a fireball. He was probably watching a YouTube video on how to fly that thing. Unfortunately, he didn't learn in time. We're now going to dive towards the P-51 because the Yak-3 above me is going to die. And yeah, as you can see, he goes down. I'm not worried. The P-51 does a really weird dodge here. Luckily, he is still full broadside to me. And he, again, presents just an easy shot. I'm not going to go for this P-51. I dodge his guns because he is going to get guns on me first. And since there's no other enemies around, I am going to try and turn with him. But as you can see, I'm faster than him, and I'm going to have a much wider turning circle. He gets a hit on me. Luckily, I actually bait him for my teammates, and so he will go down eventually. And yeah, another tip is when there is a single enemy above you that's getting engaged by multiple enemies, instead of going for him, you just want to leave him, because if there's multiple teammates around, odds are most of the time that that enemy is going to eventually go down, and is going to go down before you get to him most of the time. Moving on to the next game, I get 2 bomber kills here, and again, yeah, very common occurrence. I can tell he's already severely damaged because when I took off his wing like that, it didn't give me severe damage, so I'm going to be able to basically clean him up for free. And I think these last clips are just of me, like, coming in early and shooting people that aren't paying attention. As you can see, the 2 bombers weren't really paying attention, 84 wasn't really paying attention. I need to censor that. And then this F-8F is also not going to be paying attention. But this is the last clip of the video, so Before I end the video, I want to take a quick moment to thank all of you guys for the support. I just hit 1.1k tonight, and I'm honestly at a loss for words. Like, it's so cool to think that 1,100 people decided to sit down, watch my videos, and say, oh, this guy makes some pretty nice videos, and then hit subscribe. That to me is just so awesome, and I want to say that I really appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.